So we're back in the mountains, and I've decided I want to recreate this still life. And I remembered that I had recorded painting this, so I'm going to show you that, and then I'm going to recreate this. So I'm always happy when I remember that I have recorded something because I had never used this in a video. So I went back and I enjoyed watching it. This isn't a difficult painting. It's a very simple drawing and just painting it in. But sometimes I don't feel like coming up with something new at the moment. I feel like painting and getting my paints out and doing something in my sketchbook, but I don't really feel like coming up with something new. So I love going through my sketchbook and picking something out and then recreating it. I do it over and over and over again, and I feel like I learn something new every time. And then, like in this case, I saw that painting and I thought, oh, I want to recreate that. And then it was like, oh, yeah, I recorded that. Let me go watch it, see what I did in case I, maybe start it with a different background. As you can see, this background is kind of a wash of pink. So that makes this one a little bit different from the one I do next, but I really get a sense of how I drew it and how I painted it. And again, it's just relaxing to recreate something. I've probably done this painting, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times, and I enjoy it every time. I just like the simple shapes, I like the composition, and I like playing with the colors. Right now I'm just putting on the background, and then I'll put in the table. And yeah, I was really happy to remember that I had recorded this and was able to go back and look at it. So I'm going to try to recreate it. Okay, so I'm going to recreate that. It won't be the same, it never is, but it really is fun to take a still life and paint it over and over again. So I'm using a permanent red Create a Color pencil, and I'm just going to draw it out, do a real quick sketch. I'm kind of double lining and just getting my 3 little pieces in place. Then I'm going to grab a piece of paper. I don't have my ruler with me, so I'm going to grab a piece of paper and make a line like a table. This is a super simple still life, and for some reason I like the simple shapes and the flat colors. This time I kind of do similar to the recording, But it's also fun to totally change the colors. So I'm just going to let my pencil roll, and I'm just going to put in those plants. As you can see, I'm not holding the pencil tight and trying to draw. I'm just kind of letting it roll. I'm just looking at the painting that I'm using as a reference and just loosely putting that in. So I love the drawing. It's very similar to the other one. And now I'm going to mix up. I've got my new Nova colors. This is Phthalo Blue, and these paints are super pigmented. So you can see I've got some white on my plate, and it's not going to take but barely a dot to get the blue, but I think when I start I add a little too much because it goes very blue, and I want a light blue, so I just keep adding more white until I get a color I want. I'm going to add a little yellow to it, and these paints, I love them. They're really fun to work with. So I added a dot of yellow, and then I'm just adding some more white until I get a beautiful light blue. And now I'm just going to throw that on. I like the flat colors, like I said. I could, mix up some darker blues here and put shadow in and all that, but for some reason on these simple still lives, I really like just the flat color. So I paint that in with that beautiful blue. And then I'm going to take a piece of copy paper and press it down on that and pull that off, and that'll give it a little bit of texture. Plus, I end up with a really cool sheet of paper with random marks on it for collage. So here I'm taking yellow and black, which makes green. And I'm just making a really pretty green. And I'm going to fill in the leaves and stems. So now I'm going to mix a tiny bit more black in it and make a darker green. And I'm just going to vary the foliage a little bit. I'm just going to add a little bit of dark in. So now I just varied the color a little bit, and I'm painting in the cup and the bowl. I think I added a little bit of yellow, and every once in a while I'll take that sheet of copy paper and just press down to get a little bit of texture. So I'm just going to add these in quickly and then move on to the background. All right, I'm mixing up a pink for the background, and I'm adding pink and white and green. I'm adding the green to tone it down a little bit. And then I'm going to paint this on quickly. I love going around the foliage because I kind of touch it here and there, and I love the way that looks, and I painted that in really quickly. Now I'm going to press it with a sheet of paper, and I love the way that pulls up a little bit and leaves some texture. And now I'm mixing up an orange for the table. I'm taking the Powerol red and yellow and just getting a really pretty color. I'm going to paint that on. Again, I'm pressing that sheet of paper on to make a little texture. And then I'm going to touch up the cup and paint inside the handle. And now I'm taking a yellow China marker and just touching the edges of the leaves. I love the yellow on the green. So I'm going to take a break from that and put it under some heavy books, let it flatten out. And meanwhile, all this paint I have left on my plate, I'm going to mix together and get a neutral gray, and then just find an empty page in my sketchbook and throw it in there. And it's really satisfying to do this. I'm using a big brush and I added a little bit of water and just picking up all of that so I don't waste it. And I'll have a nice gray page that I can work on top of when I'm ready. Okay, this is where we are now, and we've got Miss Smoky Grace sitting in the window. Hi, Smoky Grace. Hi, sweet girl. All right, so here is our reference. And then I'm going to move around. And the only thing I did was I took this permanent red pencil and I straightened this line right here. So I like this one. The one thing that's bothering me is I want this bottom rounded. So I'm going to mix up this blue, or as close as I can get, and just cover the whole thing and round this bottom. I thought about putting a neutral over the pink like this one, but I think I like the pink with that orange red. So I'm just going to fix the bottom and then we'll see what we think. Here it is. I mixed up the blue again, and I think I'm going to take my white China marker and just I just want this bottom rounded. It would not be flat like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take the blue and just going to cover the whole thing. All right, I'm going to take my pickup sheet, lightly pick that up, and then I'm going to put one more coat down here. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I like that better. It won't really cover until I dry this. Let me I don't mind the bottom being a little bit ragged. I like that. All right, I'm gonna dry this and then I might hit that one more time. Okay, I dried that. I'm just gonna touch that one more time. I like this white on the edge. I think I'm just gonna try to like take my China marker and put a little bit of that. Just kind of touching the edge here and there. Yeah, I like this little bit of white peeking here and there. Yeah, I like the jagged edge at the bottom, but I like it rounded much better. So here's our reference. And here is the one that we did, and yeah, I love it. Every time it turns out different. One of the things I really liked was when I took the yellow China marker and went over the leaves. I just noticed we got a chunk right there. So, like I said, I could put a shadow, I could shadow the edges, and that would look good too, but I kind of like this colorful, flat still life. There's something about it. So I'm happy with that. Okay, just one more thing before I end this video. This is an altered book that I'm working in. I have been kind of doing this the same thing that I did here on some of these pages. Like here I put in a pink block, I drew in red and just colored the vase. I love that. I get them to a point where I love them and then I just move on to the next page. So here's another one. I like all the movement in the paint. Here's one, it's a little bit different. This is one I just recently did, and I love this color combination. It just actually was an accident. I had done, I had leftover paint and I had mixed it all together. It made kind of a brown and I put that block in. So then I drew it with blue, painted it in. I love that color combination. And I think I have one more in here so far. I think that's it so far, but I'm working in this book and it's so fun to do these quick quick study. So I thought I would share that with you, and I can't thank you enough for watching, and all of your comments keep me motivated to keep going. So hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time.